let me introduce you to another member of our team, Claudio. And Claudio, how important is the relationship between you and the clients, the relationship between the two of you?
I think it's very important. I think you have to develop it, you have to be clear with it, you have to strengthen it, you have to keep it sort of alive always at the back of your mind. And I try and make it part of the conversation.
So this is a relationship you can actually talk about, whereas most of our relationships, we don't actually talk about the nitty gritty of what's going on between the two of us.
Yes,
We might say, "You don't love me," but we don't actually investigate
yes,
the nuts and bolts of it.
yes.
So, what are the nuts and bolts that you're investigating?
Well, what I try and do is I break the conversation down sometimes. So at times I would talk about, I would follow what people are saying and be curious about that, ask them more about that, so I can get more of their explanation. But at other times I was flip from that to talking about what has just happened in the exchange. What was it that worked in that exchange that was useful to them? Something that brings an awareness to knowing how it is that in conversation, different elements of conversation hold different meanings.
So, different elements of conversation hold different meanings. Expand that out for me.
Well, sometimes people don't realize or don't give enough thought to the importance of something that's being said. So you stop talking about that idea, but talking about its importance. So you break it down a bit. You start to realize. You start to develop your own understanding of the various things that happen in conversations, because a lot of it is about knowing how it is you're talking, how it is you're exchanging with somebody else, how it is you're kind of creating more meaning in the conversation.
So, you're talking about the way we're speaking.
Yeah, sometimes the way we're speaking. Did noticing process, pointing out, especially in couples. Did you notice the way that he said that to you or she said that to you? What did you think about the way that was said? What feedback would you give to them about that? So it creates an awareness. It isn't just talking. So they enrich their sense of what it is they're doing and how they're doing it. So
So,
they're flipping it out, flipping it out.
so this is the way I received that. I felt like a small child at this point.
Something like that. Yes, yes. Or if they're telling you that very often they might feel like a small child, and you notice something where the response is an adult response, you would point to that. How does that fit with it? Because otherwise they get focused only on the negative. They start looking out for the small child response, and you can show them that actually there's more happening in this conversation, not just a small child. There's all sorts of other elements. How come sometimes he does talk to you like an adult? What do you make of that? How do you respond to that? So you start to help them to create a range of meanings in conversation, not just the words, but the process.
And the relationship with you, are you coming across as a father figure, for example? Do you talk about that?
Um, Depending on the couple, there's some couples where clearly father figures have more importance. But yes, I would talk about the importance of what I say. I would ask for feedback, not just did I do well or not, but something about how that worked. So especially if I've got an idea that something of the father figure might be in the conversation, I want to give them a sense that they have authority in the session. It's not just me being, helpful. They have authority about how they maybe change me to be more effective for their need. And that's important, I think, in just any conversation. If I want something from you, I want to know how I can best do it so I can get what I want, if you like.
And that is really important because actually feedback from the count from the clients is really important because we can often be lots of different ways. We can be very nitty gritty. We can
Yes,
come out and we can look at it from a greater perspective.
yes,
We can be non-directive. We can be directive.
yes,
But we don't know unless you say
yes,
what it is you need. And
yes,
actually being able to say what you
yes.
need is a really important skill. And you can try it out with us because we're not going to get upset.
No, no. We make it acceptable, part of the language. I learnt this mainly from children who very often they get told, you do this well, you do this badly. So if you ask, when you're in conversation with children, you ask them for their direct feedback, you can see that the mood change. They really feel, oh, they have authority. They have more say, that they can and there's a kind of honesty to children, if you like. I'm not saying adults aren't honest. It's just there's a kind of, through naivety, there's a kind of honesty, and they'll tell you. And so it becomes then part of the conversation. It becomes something you can look out for and give thought to, so that their idea about how they have authority in conversation is an accepted part of the exchange. It isn't just the kids and they should just, keep quiet or something.
So I think the important thing to remember is the number one expert on you is you.
Yes.
And we want to form a relationship where we are a team working with the two of you on your relationship. And we're very keen to achieve that rather than just being the experts. So we're a team of 3 people working together to make your relationship the best it possibly can be.